All right, welcome, ladies and gents, to the weekly walk and talk, where we talk about all the craziness going on in the media this week. So let's start with the first story. Let's jump straight in. This has just been announced, breaking news today. Russia may cut off the gas supply to Finland this week, potentially even as early as today, because Finland said they want to join NATO. And what surprised me was Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, has said, well, if Russia attacks you or does anything like that, we're going to jump in and defend you. In other words, if you think about what he means by that, how would he defend? That means military troops or weapons. How else do you defend against other weapons? So this is a little bit worrying. So there's the first crazy story of the week. Right, I just walked straight into a bog there. That is what happens when you are not paying attention. So I've got a nice wet foot. Okay, anyway, next story. The baby formula shortage. What on earth? How? It's crazy. The richest country in the world, the most successful nation the world has ever seen, the United States of America, and they can't even sort out baby formula problems. I was really shocked just listening to some people talk about this, and the advice, the guidance, the advice from the government around it. And they're saying, don't stockpile, don't hoard more than 7 or 10 days if you've got a child with some sort of special needs. But they're saying 7 days for baby formula. Don't hoard more than 7 days. And I'm just thinking, look, I know that's the advice and the guidance, but what mother is going to follow that? Most mothers are not going to say, oh yeah, okay, I'll do that. And I'll just, get my 7 days worth, and then I'll just hope, cross my fingers and pray to God that there's going to be baby formula for me when I go back. It's not going to happen. So this is why we're seeing these empty shelves everywhere. And you're going to see a lot more of it. Now, there's a long backstory behind this, and there's a lot of guidance around it. So, and again, there's a lot of idiots online saying, well, that's their own fault. They should have just breastfed and all this. No, I mean, some of these comments are idiotic. Some mothers cannot breastfeed. They are physically unable to breastfeed. They have to have formula. And then there's other comments like, oh, well, just give them milk, or just give them this, or just give them that. It's not that simple. You can't just change formula or just give a baby milk. Some babies have special requirements. They might have issues feeding. There's all this sort of things. There's so many insensitive people around at the moment, including a couple of politicians or senators, whatever they were, saying, oh, mums should just do this and do that. These people obviously don't have kids, so you haven't got a clue what they're talking about. In fact, I just want to read out some statistics that I've got here on this baby formula shortage. So last week, the USA was down 31%. So that's the shortage on baby formula, 31%. This week, it's down 40%. And by next week, it could be anywhere from 50 to 56%. Now, they're blaming people hoarding baby formula. That's not the reason. They're blaming the wrong people here. The problem is the USA, just like I've said with a lot of things, they outsource so much stuff. They're not doing as much of their own production, and they're causing issues. So now they're relying on Europe actually to fly in all of this baby formula and, take care of it. But Europe needs baby formula as well. Now, basically, there's a lot more to this whole story. I think it was the FDA, the Federal Drug Administration, actually closed down the main baby formula manufacturing facility for the United States. You see, this is the other problem. When you have these massive conglomerates that just completely, are able basically to take over, you have issues like this. When we have these monopolies, look at Amazon, for example, as a monopoly. Look at all these other big companies. And that's another point, actually. Let's touch upon that. What happened during the pandemic, whatever you want to call it, depending on your viewpoint on it. What did I say would happen? I said all of these small businesses would get wiped out. What does that do? It helps all of these big conglomerates to grow even bigger because they're taking on all the business from these small businesses that couldn't survive. We've seen that now. Now, we haven't seen the second part of my forecast around that play out just yet. And that second part of the forecast is that we're going to see a lot of unemployment. Because what's going to happen, a lot of the people who left that sort of work, they went to work for some of the bigger companies. Some of them are tech-based. And what are the tech companies doing? Exactly what I said they'd do. They're doing more outsourcing, more AI, and they're getting rid of jobs. Do you remember all those? I mean, I think I talked about this. I put some of those comments on screen where these people were like really heavily trolling me, who were, and you'd be surprised because they were, you know, warehouse workers and supermarket workers and all this a couple of years ago, which usually are my biggest fans. But anyway, I just had a group of these people that went after me, and they were saying, oh, no, they're not going to do self-service and not going to bring in robots and all this. You're a crazy person saying all this. Oh, you should be ashamed of yourself. Oh, what happened? Sorry, what happened? Yeah, AI, self-service kiosks, where you've got one person sometimes running 10 self-service kiosks, and now you've got all these robots in the Amazon warehouses going around, stacking shelves and everything else. People are creating their own demise and they don't even see it. Now, the next thing I want to just touch upon today is, and again, we're going back months now, when I talked about all the food riots that would come about. Well, what have we had? We've had Sri Lanka. That's getting pretty heated, if you get my pun there, with all the fires and the like, getting pretty heated. Now we're seeing Iran. There's some stuff going on in Iran at the moment. It's hard to get that information, exactly what's going on, but it looks like more peaceful protests at the moment. But that's how it starts. It starts with peaceful protests, and then it gets more and more violent later on. And we're not just seeing it there. There's at least a dozen countries at the moment that have these major riots and food riots, and it's going to get worse, especially in the Middle East. We know what happened the last time that all of this took place around the Middle East, and we're going to see a lot more of this again. It's not going to be good, ladies and gents. But actually, I'll talk more about that, and I want to give you a really good historical piece on Monday. I'm going to talk about a peasants' revolt that took place in the 1400s, actually. So it was, well, we'll talk about the Black Death, 1348, and then we'll talk about the peasants' revolt of 1381, and just how we can use this history to actually track, and I'll show you what's going to come next, just by using this very simple history from, what's that, 641 years ago. Crazy. I know, my brain is just full of numbers. This is what I do. I remember all these dates and all these numbers. That's how I calculate stuff so easily. People always laugh when I'm walking and they say, how do you remember all of these numbers? I don't know, my head is just good at crunching things. But let's move on to the next thing, which was, oh yeah, so the German minister has just made this massive announcement that we're going to have the worst famine since World War II, and it's going to be coming very, very soon. Again, I've talked about this, but I don't think it's going to be coming as soon as some people think. I think it's going to be probably, you know, I think we've still got 6 months. I do. Now, if you're in a developing nation, have you got 6 months? Probably not. But if you're in a developed nation, a wealthy nation, you've got at least 6 months, you've got a year maybe. It all depends on the crop, because remember, the good thing about the food system is that it's constantly regenerating itself. Although you cut out pesticides and you lose 75% of the yield. And again, those numbers vary depending on the crop and what else you're using, the fertility of the soil, etc. But this is what you're going to see. You are going to see some major issues. And it wasn't just her saying about the famine. We also had this from the World Food Programme. 1.7 billion people to go into extreme poverty and hunger this year. 1.7 billion people. You think about how many people are on the planet in the terms of the billions, and then you think 1.7 billion. That's crazy right there. Next point then, I talked before, quite a funny, not controversial subject, but remember I talked about my video that got shadow banned. You can see it. In fact, I just changed the title. You can look at it on my videos. It says, this video is banned or shadow banned or restricted or something. So if you want to watch it, watch it. It's basically just talking about crime statistics and all that sort of stuff. Interestingly enough, just yesterday, so Thursday this came out, this was in the USA police force. Crime is exploding, police officers quitting en masse, vacations cancelled for police officers for this coming summer. Why would that be? If all the things I was talking about with the crime statistics, if they're not true, even though I pulled them from the government website, but hey, we won't even get into that. If it's not true and I'm making all this stuff around the crime and how it's exploding and, you know, my own personal experiences, a murder in my street, someone doing a home invasion in my parents' street with a shotgun. Oh, got to edit that word out. Drive-by shooting near one of our old coffee shops. I mean, this is in a country, the UK, they're supposed to, no one's got guns. There aren't any guns with gangs and all this other stuff. You imagine what's going to happen in the USA when all of this erupts and all this food runs out and people that haven't got, and again, I'm not saying that people are bad people, okay? But a lot of people who don't have savings, who haven't prepared, they are going to do what is natural to them, what is natural to human beings. They are going to get food and their resources however they need to. Now, most people, I believe, are good people. I really do believe that. I know some of you don't, but I do believe most people are good people. But there are some real bad people out there. And it can be the best economy the world's ever seen, and they'll still be bad people. So you imagine what's going to happen when all of this goes badly. And I think about that a lot. It's never far from my mind. And it helps me to prepare for what's coming. So I just wanted to keep today's video really short, to be honest. I didn't want it to be a massive, you know, overblown video. I just did that yesterday. That video, actually, it's crazy the amount of views and engagements and arguments that are going on. People often say, Neil, you must delete comments because they're always very positive towards you. I don't delete comments. I just leave them there. And that's why you often see some of these outrageous comments from people who say, oh, this guy's just, you know, doom and gloom. He's the warmonger. He's the one trying to get us into war. You know, oh, he's been wrong about everything. He hasn't got a single thing right. And it's like, sorry? Are these people watching the same channel? When I talk about the buildup of Russian troops on the border back in November, and then look what we've seen now. Are they seeing what I talked about with, oh, they're going to start rationing cooking oil and there's going to be wheat and there's going to be all these issues. And then what happens? We have all the rationing of cooking oil and everything else. You know, just crazy some of these comments that I see. It just makes me wonder if they're actually watching the right channel. And people say everything's going to be fine. You know, there's no problems. Everything's going to be fine. And he's just trying to scare people and you don't need to stock up any food. There was a comment yesterday. Oh, I only keep 2 or 3 days of food because if I don't, it's going to be stealing from other people. Okay, good luck with that strategy, my friend, because I think you're going to have a slight issue. Oh, wow. When everything comes down, look at this. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I'm just taking you down the coastal path today. Gosh, stunning, huh? Look at that. Stunning. So we'll just take a walk. I was actually down here a couple of weeks ago and there was a mountain rescue situation. And I was the one that got here first, actually. I was the one that saw the lady trying to get down this cliff because her dog fell off the cliff. And you know what it's like if you're a dog lover like I am, I know many of you are, if your dog goes off the cliff, you know what you're going to do. You're going to go after the dog. So that was an interesting situation. That was a couple of weeks ago down here. But yeah, look at this. Beautiful, beautiful. Just a couple of bits of guidance then. I mean, I've talked about a lot of this before, so I'm not going to go on about it. Make sure you got your food prep. Make sure you've done your other prep. If you're a forum member, so you're in the Patreon. In fact, guys, some of you are not in the forum. It baffles me. For what, less than $1 a week or whatever it is, you're not in the forum, where you just get a gold mine of information from everyone. Prepping, food prep. We have got some, I mean, I've learned so much from the members. We've got some absolute geniuses in that forum. It's unbelievable. Just how smart some of the people are in the forum. Food prep, farming, how to grow. What else have I learned this week? I've learned how to stop slugs and rodents and all sorts eating all my crops. I've started again actually with my crops. Just started again with them and they're doing good. They're doing good so far. That was a good lesson with the slugs and everything else. You know, this is how we learn. We've just got to keep learning from all these little mistakes, but you've got to make the mistakes fast and you've got to make them now. Don't wait until the last minute, like I said last week, to start growing food and stuff like that. And remember, unless you've got acres, you're not going to grow all the food you need. You've got to just stock up on things. And if you don't want to go to the supermarket because you feel it's immoral, stock up at a wholesaler or something like that. There's plenty of cash and carries and wholesalers that will sell you on bulk. And then learn about Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, if you're taking notes. and then learn how to seal your food in there. You can make stuff last for 25 years without needing to go out and buy the expensive 25-year food and long life food, stuff like that. But all right, just a short one. I'm gonna have the weekend off. I've got my family over, so yeah, gonna hang out with my family this weekend, and then I will see you on Monday. So I've got it prepared already for you. Just got to film that. So on Monday, you're going to get that video about the peasants' revolt, and you're going to get a really good history lesson from that. So all right, take care, guys. God bless you and your families. I hope you're having you know, as best of time as you can as we go through this crisis. But I will try my best to help you navigate through as very best I can. All right, take care. See you soon.